Good morning, everyone. I am IFBB Classic Physique Professional, WNBF Natural Bodybuilding Professional, Lamont Gilchrist, IFBB LG9 on Instagram. You can go and follow me. It has all my links at the bottom of my page to my link tree, which will take you to workout videos you can purchase. My website tells you the deals and other things that I have to offer. My YouTube channel, which some of my videos, workout videos, and informational videos are on, and all my other social media links. All right, so today's topic, I want to get into a little bit of science for people who are out there that are competitors, maybe like in wrestling. Maybe you do bodybuilding and you have to make a weight, or you have a weigh-in. Maybe you're in a boxing and you have to weigh in. Maybe you're in a little league or a football or some kind of program where you actually have to weigh in. And so we're going to talk about the science in a couple of different capacities. And I'm going to break it up into a couple of different capacities and explain the science from a working out standpoint and recovery, from a nutritional standpoint, and from an energy exchange standpoint. So on the first topic, from a working out standpoint, the number one rule in training, especially sports specific, is to increase your ability to excel or to perform at whatever respective sport that you're doing with a certain amount of urgency, safety, and skill level. And in conducting and composing, there are mental aspects, neurological aspects, muscle fiber aspects, ligaments, tendons, joints, energy exchange, different types of muscle fibers. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of science behind it and some of the things that I try to have my athletes focus on when we're training. Let's start from the skeletal aspect of it as far as skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle can be trained in a couple of different ways. It can be trained in hypertrophy, eccentric, concentric, isometric. It can be trained towards muscle fibers type, fast twitch, slow twitch. The hybrids in between the muscle fibers is always changing. It just kind of depends on what you're talking about. It can also be trained in the connective tissue to muscle ratio. How much is connective tissue? How much is muscle? In most training programs, when someone is trying to get physically stronger and maybe get bigger and create muscle, the number one methodology that is sought or used is hypertrophy, the micro tears in the muscle fiber, the actin and myosin ripping apart. Then it can be done with time under tension, heavy workload, a whole bunch of different varieties. That is usually the number one muscle building or training for strength. On the other side of that, the recovery to that process, depending on if you're trying to gain size or if you're not trying to put on muscle size. Let's say you're trying to get bigger, then you want some cortisol release, you want a little bit of inflammation, and you want some recovery to take place over a certain amount or a certain period of time. So your recovery afterwards will be more, in my program, more of an active recovery, like riding a bicycle after you get done, light rate, just to work the connective tissue, the fascia, and to get rid of some of the buildup of, people will say, lactic acid or whatever, which is not, and I'll explain that a little bit later, so that your recovery can be conducive when added the right nutritional stuff to where you can actually gain muscle, put on size, strengthen the muscle, and create and build more muscle from density for bigger power output. Now, not to gain weight on the same training style of hypertrophy, you will want to suppress cortisol release. You want to suppress inflammation as soon as possible. So like taking an ice bath, icing, other things and stuff like that, where you're actually suppressing cortisol release, doesn't signal to the muscles to turn on the growth process of hypertrophy in most cases, as science and top scientists and research and Olympic training coaches and bodybuilders and all the general people who use these techniques to put on size, not put on size, diet down for a contest, and other things and stuff like that, have experienced and come to understand or understand over this period of time. So that's just giving you two mechanisms when it comes to muscle training. And then I gave you a couple of different categories like isometric, ballistic, plyometric, eccentric, concentric, time under tension, band training, high intensity. So you could just go through all the different methods. And then we're talking about energy source. But the number one thing that I want you athletes out there to understand is that your conditioning, cardiovascular, resting heart rate, workout peak threshold before you start getting into that burn cycle of the hydrogen or not being able to take in enough oxygen, which, once you're anaerobic, where the ATP breakoff pyruvate is made, it's trying to go into the mitochondria. It needs oxygen to take it into the mitochondria to produce more ATP, but you kind of get backed up because the pyruvate gets backed up, and then it bonds with the hydrogen as a buffer, so that forms what people call lactic acid, so that it's easily converted into other aspects inside the muscle. So once transfer that ATP transfer, pyruvate, aerobic, anaerobic system working efficiently, then you'll be able to put out a greater energy output for a duration of time, which is how I build my world-class athletes and how I build my athletes to perform, to be all-state, super state, all-Americans, world champions. So that's another aspect of working out. So now I'm going to cover the chemical aspect of it, as far as dealing with the carbohydrates, water storage, taking fluid into the muscle, water retention, glycogen retention, sodium and potassium pumps. See, all these things will affect workout, production, output of energy for specific athletics, energy source availability during sport-specific sport or training. So you have to understand and have a good understanding of those systems. And those systems will also cause you to retain a certain amount of weight. Usually inside those systems, it can fluctuate anywhere from 8 to 15 pounds if you understand how to reload those systems and stuff like that. It's a little bit more scientifically complicated. I'm just going to say to my athletes out there, just make sure that you have enough sodium and potassium when you're working out. Usually lack of energy, a lack of performance is not due to carbohydrates or glycogen or the ability to put out ATP, but due to muscle contractions, neurotransmitters firing off to muscle contractions, which is usually a direct result of not having enough sodium, potassium. Magnesium is another one. Calcium actually helps with the sodium potassium pump. If you need more information, you can contact me about recovery and recovery time and workout intensities. So usually hypertrophy is somewhere in the 88 to 99 percentile of work capacity for whatever rep range. As the weight goes up, the rep range goes down. Then you got to talk about connective tissue, biomechanics, proper form, and injury as you get heavier and as you get closer to full work capacity. So when you're trying to induce hypertrophy for strength training or weightlifting or whatever it is that you're trying to do, You want to make sure that you understand all the other systems that are being affected as far as connective tissue, ligaments, joints, the neurological system, and all the other systems. Because all those systems take a certain amount of time and a certain amount of recovery time. And you can actually help those systems from ligaments, tendons, joints to recover a lot faster if you know the correct nutritional things to put in your body, like gelatin with some vitamin C and some other things will help your ligaments when you're working out. If you do that before, get that fluid in and out of the ligaments and keep them young and youthful, to keep the collagen supported, so that, you know, when you're doing an athletic sport at a high speed, it's mainly, you know what I'm saying, like an elasticity between the muscle, ligaments, tendons, and joints that allow you to move and perform at a fluid or fast speed in your respective sport. Another aspect of it is, like I was saying, as far as like having the proper minerals, and there are supplements that you could take that can assist in some of those things, as far as like if you want to put on weight, if you don't want to put on weight, like with creatine, which your body can produce, but it doesn't produce usually enough, and you don't get enough of it in meats, especially if you're vegan, you won't get enough of it. Beta alanine is another good one, which is a buffer. Baking soda, lemon juice. There's a whole bunch of good things that you could take that are antioxidant buffers that actually deal with the lactate, the hydrogen, and electric transfer and pyruvate stages of aerobic to anaerobic energy function, which is basically metabolism. You can't separate anaerobic and aerobic, or aerobic from anaerobic. People try to do that. It just depends on your heart rate and how much before the signal gets to that muscle or to your body or from your brain to say that we're being overworked, so you need to throttle down or slow down. That's why I say being in shape is always going to be key to any component, regardless. Before you start skill testing or anything else, being in shape is the number one component so that you can perform for a duration at a high level. So I hope this information kind of helps and gives you a look into the window of the different things that you can approach as an athlete, especially if you're trying to get bigger, if you're not trying to get bigger, if you do a sport that requires you to gain weight or lose weight or weigh in or anything else. For more information, you can contact me on my website. I do sport-specific programs for different sports, how to gain weight, how to lose weight, how to maximize, volumize, go up in your weight after you go into weigh-in, and make sure that you have all the glycogen available and the minerals and vitamins inside that you need to perform. And like I said, you can contact me on my website directly, or you can email me, and that's also in my link tree on my IG page. And any other information, like helping you put up a workout program to kind of separate the different training styles from hypertrophy, eccentric, concentric, isometric, plyometric, and then have an understanding of the different energy sources, or the different muscle material or fiber or material inside your body that you're working, as far as training into the different systems that make athletes, or that create fluid or high capacity athletic performance. You can contact me once again through all those different social media sites, email me and everything else like that. Once again, my name is Lamar Gilchrist. I hope this information helps. Thanks.